Alrighty, so for orientation today, we've started off by introducing ourselves, and now we're going through the initial lower division courses that everyone should be taking either as a freshman or as a transfer student. And we're going to go through specifically the classes you should be in for freshmen, and then if you're a transfer student, the most critical courses to make sure you're taking so that you move forward through the program in a timely manner. Hopefully some of you have seen the roadmap before, and if not, we do have a link for this roadmap. And this is our most current up-to-date roadmap that we have. So you can see the common lower division, the first semester, we've got Art History 10, and then the second semester, Art History 11. Those can also be interchanged if needed, if one class is full. Art 13 in that first semester is critical because it's a prereq for many of the lower division courses. GD 35 and GD 37 are the introductory lower division graphic design classes that we have. So this is the general look at that lower division. And let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and we're going to break down those courses for freshmen. So again, just like we saw in that roadmap, Art History 10, Ancient Worlds, Art 13, Design, GD 35, and GD 37. If you're an incoming freshman and you are not currently enrolled in Art 13, GD 35, or GD 37, please let one of us know so that we can take a look at the classes you're registered for and see if we can rearrange to get you into 35 or 37. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So for fall semester for transfer students, a lot of you may have already had some prereqs come in from community colleges. So you want to make sure that you're in GD 35, GD 37, GD 39, and GD 41. Now, sometimes if you're a transfer student and you didn't necessarily finish all of your general education somewhere else, you might say, well, I wanted to take a couple of general education courses in the fall, but we really want you to focus on the graphic design courses to get you into that pipeline so that you stay on track, because in the upper division, we have space for general education courses as well. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat over here. I see there's some activity. Okay. Yeah, so you will choose the path that you want to go to, and we're going to talk about when that happens. I see Rusty already responded that that's in the upper division before you begin that upper division. And then questions about student plan. Yep, so that would be great to just contact one of us and set up an appointment, and we can go over student plans as well. Okay, let's go ahead and go to that next slide. So for the spring semester for freshmen, that's when you'll take that Art History 11, Art 16, Introductory to Color. You'll take either Art 20 or ID 34, which is a drawing class, and then GD 39, Computer Layout. Okay, next slide, please. The spring semester for transfer students, this is the rest of that lower division. GD 41, Typography, GD 42, GD 50, Web Design, and GD 60, Illustration Techniques. Both fall and spring semesters for transfer students are pretty heavy. There's a lot of studios, a lot of creative output that's happening. Especially on that spring semester, it might be wise, especially if you already have all of your general education completed, to only take 4 classes. 4 studio classes is a lot. There's a lot of time in class, and it is a lot of creative output. So please carefully consider that spring semester. If you can handle taking 4 studios, it might be advisable to only take 4 courses at a time. Now, the reason we want people to get through those lower division courses is that spring semester for transfer students. That is when you would pick which track you would be in. You'll pick which you want to enter the second spring that you're here, okay? So after you've completed the lower division or are in the process of completing that lower division, you apply for continuing in the BFA program. Right now, all of you are signed up as a BFA graphic design major, but part of a BFA program includes putting together a portfolio and having it evaluated to continue on into that upper division. So in the April of either your second year or the April of your first transfer year, once you have completed or are completing that lower division, that's when we apply for which track you're most interested in. This gives you time to kind of explore what the 3 different tracks are about to pick. Let's go ahead and go to that next slide. So we do have 3 separate tracks. We have the graphic design track, the illustration track, and the interactive multimedia track. But keep in mind, they're all graphic design, okay? It's a little misleading because one of our tracks name is also graphic design, but they're actually all about graphic design. It's just focusing on some different areas within graphic design. Let's go ahead and go to that next slide. So just a note, everyone receives the same degree. It's a Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design, regardless of which track you're in. The degree is the same for all 3 tracks. Okay, next slide. And now we're going to get into the fun part. We're going to take a look at some student work from each of the tracks. Before I do that though, are there any specific questions about the classes for fall or spring?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do I make an appointment with you guys?
Yeah, so if you wanted to make an appointment with me, I have an advising page, or you can email any of us and set up an appointment. So all of our emails are on the main website, but let's go ahead, everyone, and go ahead and put our emails in the chat just so the students can grab them easily.
Hey, Laura, I have one question.
Yeah.
In the spring for freshmen, is it still accurate to say ART 20 or ID 43, or did we switch to just ART 20?
Martine, do you remember if we took 43 off?
I think our newest catalog that published this summer is just ART 20, not ID 43.
I think we deleted it too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well then I think most students took ART 20 anyway. But yeah, so we'll remove that ART 43. If someone's already enrolled in it and really wants to take it, then we could probably do a substitution. But yeah, ART 20 is the new catalog then. Thank you, Virginia. All right, any other questions on, let's see, I see someone had issues joining GD 35 as a transfer student. Is it still necessary for the first semester? It's ideal for the first semester. If you could not get in, you can take it in the spring semester. It's just gonna make the spring semester a little more intense for you. And that's something that you can also reach out to faculty individually, and we can take a look to see if there is any other options as well, okay? All right, any other questions? Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let Virginia and Jasmine both talk about your student work briefly. And Rusty, you can kind of click through those slides.
Sure.
Cool. I can start, Jasmine, but feel free to hop in too. So Jasmine and I teach in the graphic design track, which is, like Laura said, can be confusing because you're all getting a graphic design degree. But contrary to illustration and interactive multimedia, we teach in more sort of what you might think of as traditional graphic design. It's not necessarily all print. The sample you see here is from a packaging design student. But we also do focus on like some digital stuff and animation, maybe more so in the typography classes. But you'll get a good handle on designing for specific markets through all of your classes and for specific audiences. And you'll have the opportunity to kind of explore what different careers in graphic design might look like. That can be going in to working with advertising agencies or marketing agencies or studios that focus on print and things like packaging, or studios that might be kind of civically engaged doing wayfinding and sort of critical design for communities, government, nonprofit work. So there's a lot of packaging shown here, but you'll experience in the upper division classes sort of a range of media so that you get a sense of sort of the variety of roles you could end up in as a graphic designer after graduation. Jasmine, you have anything else to add?
Yeah, so exactly that. We have a variety of examples here, more specifically with the typography courses that I can speak of. I do teach 175 and I can elaborate that too, but 170, 175, I really try to bring in not just an emphasis of which typefaces to use, but as you can see here, student design typefaces. So you guys will have the opportunity to design your own typefaces, bringing them into software to type with your own typeface. That's always a very exciting moment for students. And then I think there's a couple more examples with student typefaces. Yeah, there we are. So we have these, and then something else that I really like to emphasize is logo design, not just being an icon or a symbol. Oftentimes we can see that in a typographic mark. And in class, I've tried to bring in animations in logo reveals. So we can play this one. Something short and sweet, but definitely kind of allows you to explore the realm of After Effects. And in general, you know, what a logo reveal would be. And then I think there's a second one, maybe even a third. There we are. I can't hear the audio, but just so you can. Oh, dang. But anyway, for those that can hear it, definitely those on the call, that audible noise also being part of the design on this. Yeah, so quite a bit that, yay. Quite a bit of other examples. This here was done for the social justice poster project, which is outside of the classroom, but definitely a really strong example of a typographic poster. And then Virginia, I want to say that those mock-ups were done in your class.
Previous ones, I think these predate me, but give you a good sense of like designing for multiple media, both print and digital. And I'm not sure if there are any more after this. Oh, more.
Brand
Yes.
identity.
So, yeah, brand identity. I try to weave in sort of like community-based projects to the extent that we can within the course. So you're able to sort of work, you know, within our specific location. So.
All right, let's move on to illustration. Martine, if you'd like to talk a little bit about the illustration track.
Sure. The whole premise of illustration, again, is to do storytelling through visual imagery. So we try to focus within the illustration track at this point in time is to almost two tier. One is a lot of students want to go into what I call animation, character development, for gaming, for any type of that industry. And the second component is more towards what I call the commercial side of it. So you can see some examples of certain environment design and painterly designs, and also character development. So go ahead and continue, Rusty. These are done from the past couple of years, last few years actually. So we use both traditional and digital media. It all depends on your style of technique that you're going to present to your audience or what you're going to present to your client. And this is a little bit more towards the commercial side of illustration. What do you use illustration on the commercial side, either for magazine layouts, magazine or book covers, or even we have a collaboration, once in a while I have collaboration with the graphic design. We do packaging where we do the illustration, they do all the rest of the layout. And one of the things I'm really trying to push as well is the whole idea of storytelling in children's book or just youth books. There's a couple of examples of that. And that's it. If you have any questions, just let me know.
And then for the interactive multimedia, would you go to the next slide, Rusty? So interactive multimedia can be a little bit confusing because it's not always exactly clear exactly what it is. But for our interactive multimedia track, we really focus on taking a lot of that traditional understanding of graphic design and applying it through digital mediums or through multiple mediums in different digital routes that can be paired with physical or printed content as well. Some of the areas that we really focus on include human-centered design. Oh, sorry, can you go back? So we focus on human-centered design and user experience design, and that's something that is a strong theme throughout many of the interactive multimedia courses. Some of the things that we deal with in our classes include in GD50, which everyone takes, right? That's a lower division, is learning that basic front-end coding, which is the HTML and CSS. However, that's not something that is done in every single one of the interactive multimedia courses. So interactive multimedia is not just about web design. It's a large component, but it is not the only component. It's also a track that allows you to kind of take the different areas you're interested in, because it could kind of go in different directions, and use that to plan your classes as well. So some of the courses that we have include designing for the web, designing for augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality, using some of your introductory front-end coding skills to then go in and also learn basic object-oriented programming. We use P5, which is based on processing, and that's a object-oriented coding language that was created by artists for creating really interesting generative artwork, as well as being a little more easier to work with than some of the other object-oriented programming languages. And we also do motion graphics as well. Jasmine shared some of the animated logos that she does in her class. So we also work with motion graphics to create longer motion graphics as well. And let's go ahead and take a look at some work from the track now. These are demo reels, so they're showing little slices of different projects from multiple classes. Thank you, Rusty. All right, and Rusty, would you like to share anything about the classes that you teach as well?
Sure. I teach most of the web design courses, and I also teach the programming course that Laura was talking about. That's my favorite course to teach. Like she said, we use P5, which is a language specifically made for artists and designers, and you learn the fundamentals of programming, but in a,
Rusty, I think you might have froze.
can you see me?
Yep, we can see you. You just
Okay.
froze for a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's you can make some really interesting interactive pieces. Yeah, that's it.
Excellent. And we also use a lot of prototyping as well, because sometimes in the interactive track, the project ideas that we develop and want to move forward with would normally be something that would take longer than we necessarily have in a semester, or perhaps would be the type of project that would be worked on with a large team in the industry. And so we'll do something called design concept summaries or design concept videos, where we create different prototypes and we show how that design could be used in a video to give people an understanding or feel for that larger picture of that design. And it doesn't mean that every single aspect of that design is completely developed, or it isn't necessarily coded. Sometimes it's just the look of the design and how it functions. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the BFA show.
Laura, can I interrupt you really fast?
Yes, please.
To share one more thing. It's okay if you're sitting here and you're not sure what track you want to enter. You have a whole year to decide, and hopefully you'll have the opportunity to talk with maybe your peers in the upper division and get a sense, or talk with any of us and get a sense of what your interests are.
Yes, thank you very much, Virginia. And an excellent resource for talking to other students about different tracks is going to the graphic design club meetings. And there's actually a slide at the end of the BFA show slides that talks about the graphic design club. And Jasmine is our faculty advisor for the graphic design club. So definitely something to get involved in and talk to the other students about the tracks that they're in, their experiences, the things they like or don't like about the different tracks. And you can always reach out to any of the faculty, and we'd be happy to talk to you about our tracks, or help you look at your work and think about which track you might like to be in. Now, the BFA show is at the end, it's your senior year, at the end of those upper divisions. And this is part of what makes a BFA different from a BA. The BFA show is that culmination of your work here at Fresno State. You actually have a class, GD 180, that's completely dedicated to portfolio development and getting ready for this show specifically. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So unfortunately, I do not have the most recent show that we just had last spring up yet, but I will be getting that up soon. And so last spring, we were able to have an in-person show back in the Conley Gallery, as well as doing a virtual component, because previously during COVID, we were not able to be in our main gallery where we had always done our shows, our BFA shows before. So for 2020 and 2021, we did a virtual show in a virtual reality environment that allowed us to have a reception in real time, interacting as avatars. A component of the BFA show has always been to have a website as well. So when we were thinking about what we wanted to do for a virtual show, it needed to be something more than just a website, because that was already a component of what you do for the BFA show. So we used a virtual reality social environment that is browser-based to interact. And because that was so successful in 2020 and 2021, in 2022, in the spring, we decided to keep that as a part of the show as well. we had a couple of students who were actually in the virtual space so that people who came physically to the show could interact with them virtually, or if people were unable to come to the physical show, either because they lived too far away or they had a reason why they weren't able to attend live, they could join the virtual showcase and walk around in that virtual environment. We even had a head-mounted display at the opening night so that guests who came to view the show could put on the head-mounted display and go into the virtual gallery, as well as walk around in the physical space. So it was a really interesting way to pair that physical and digital connection and look at all the different ways that we can access design. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. So here's some examples of what the show in 2021 looks like. You're seeing a student gallery, and you're seeing the main gallery where all the avatars kind of jumped in initially. And you're also seeing the website that was set up of the students' work. So for the BFA show, you can go ahead and click to the next slide. Okay, and this is an example of a homepage for the website. Let's go ahead and click to the next slide. Oh, we don't have to load the gallery right now, Rusty. If you want to just go to the next slide, we can look at the previous year.
I guess it linked to it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Here we go.
Okay, so here's some examples from 2020 as well. So this is the first time we did the showcase. And then the next slide, I think, should be some pictures from 2019 of the physical show. Here we go. So here we can see that the physical boards that are put up in the gallery. For the BFA show, each student gets a 4x8 board that you can design however you see fit, and you work with your faculty in GD 180 to make sure that your portfolio and your personal brand and your everything for the show is cohesive and works well together, because it's something that will help you get a job, right? And so everyone puts together their own board, and everyone puts together their own physical portfolio that people can actually look through at the show. And everyone puts together a digital portfolio that is a website that people can access online as well. And everyone also creates a virtual gallery where they add some of their work from either the website or that physical portfolio into a 3D virtual reality gallery space that we link to. And those galleries stay live, so you can actually visit the galleries from 2020, 2021, and 2022 to see some of the student work. When we only did physical shows, the show's up for a week, and then it comes down as physical shows do. And the only thing we have left is photographs, right? So moving forward, having that virtual component allows for that, be able to go back and look at it as well. Okay, the next slide just talks a little bit about the integrated design BA. If, for instance, you are a transfer student and you do not have time or do not want to continue pursuing the BFA for some reason, and I would strongly encourage you to talk with a faculty member before you make that decision. There is another option, the integrated design BA, and the integrated design BA was recently created that it takes a look at both graphic design courses and interior design courses to create a design centered around technology and innovation. So there are there is another major that is centered around design, but again, there is a difference between a BA and a BFA. A BA is a Bachelor's of Arts, and a BFA is a Bachelor's of Fine Arts. The Bachelor's of Fine Arts does come with that professional development course and with the 180 portfolio development course. So that there is a little bit of difference between the two. And if you're interested in more information though, please contact one of the faculty members and we can talk to you more about it. Holly Souls or myself can talk to you more about the integrated design BA specifically as well. Okay, next slide. And so this is just a look at those courses. The lower division courses are the same. So if you're already moving through the BFA and for some reason you decide that you wanted to switch to the integrated design BA, you don't have to like go back and start over. All right. Okay, next slide. Graphic Design Club. So I believe this QR code still works and should take you to the Graphic Design Club website. They also have a very active Discord. So definitely check out that Discord. I don't know, Jasmine, if you can drop a link to the Discord maybe in the chat, that would be great.
I will suggest that you guys go to the Instagram. I'm not sure if I can generate a code for the Discord, but the Instagram definitely always has the that information. Yeah, so I am the advisor for the Graphic Design Club. Recently, we've had a lot of activities. I actually just told my 41 students earlier today. Last semester, we went on our first field trip to San Francisco. It was a fun opportunity for 15 of our students. Those were mostly the officers, but also some students that just heavily participated in the club. The other thing that we do is, my laptop might die, so I'll do this quick. The other things we do, and I want to like heavily promote, is the graphic design book club. You guys should be getting email about that. I'm hoping by the end of the day, where we provide books for you guys, so long as you participate in that throughout the semester. There are yours to keep, and we try to just pick a book that is specific on design. It's not type specific. It's not anything. It's just the broad umbrella of design. And yeah, I'll be sending email about that so you can kind of fill in your availability and potentially share your interests on that, and I can reach out. Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, Jasmine.
Also, sorry, other thing, talking about the BFA portfolio, great source to talk to students that have gone through that in the past. They'll give you pointers, but more specifically, there'll even be workshops. There are typically 2 workshops throughout the spring semester, and from how to set up the files for your portfolio to, you know, just in general suggestions for the cover letter. They kind of try to touch on all of that.
Excellent. And then let's go to our next slide here. Just a note on Adobe Creative Cloud. Everyone, all students on campus should have access to Adobe Creative Cloud for free. So if you need to get Adobe Creative Cloud, go to FresnoStateOnTheHub.com, or you can go to fresnostate.edu/Adobe. And then you can download the Creative Cloud for free. Do not pay for Adobe Creative Cloud month by month through Adobe. Please save your money and get it free through school, okay? And if you're already paying for it and you need help figuring out how to switch it over, let me know and we can help you find who you need to talk to take care of that, okay? Let's see, next slide. All right, everyone should take this short survey because that is how we remove your advising holds for attending today. Rusty, would you mind dropping that short URL in the chat as well? It's a very short survey. It's mostly just your name and I don't know if there's one other question on there, but that way we can lift those advising holds for that next semester advising. Okay, so we'll leave that up. Is there anything else that anyone would like to add?
So, okay, I made an appointment already.
Mhm.
It says Tuesday and Thursday, but it's for what's her name? One of
I did
you.
see that come through my email.
Yeah,
Is
you.
conflict?
Yeah. So I scheduled an appointment, but I was just wondering, is it just Tuesday and Thursdays?
My office hours, yes, I can work around, but if you don't mind sending me email for that,
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
just to land on a date that works for both of us, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. How long does the BFA program usually take to complete?
So the BFA program coming in as a freshman should take 4 years. Coming as a transfer student, it should take 3 years if you're going through the, if you've gotten some of the early lower division taken care of at a community college or another university, and then you're into those courses we outlined for that spring and fall and spring, then it should take 3 years. Let's see, I'm seeing in the chat that the link did not work. I did check the QR code. I thought that one worked.
The QR works, Laura. I'm trying to copy and paste that into it.
Okay, thank you.
Just a second, yeah.
Sorry for the technical delay. If you happen to have your smartphone, or unless you're using it to view this, you can scan the QR code, but we'll get the link up in the chat here in a second. Any other questions? When do we decide if we want to do a BFA or BA in graphic design? So the BA is not technically in graphic design. The BA is in integrated design, which is a little different. But if you're already interested or questioning, I would suggest going ahead and making an advising appointment. Excuse me, to go over what the two different majors are. Any other questions? All right, was everyone able to access the survey?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Rusty, were there any more slides? I can't remember if that was the last one.
Looks like that's the last one.
All right, perfect. Well, if there are no other questions, please do remember you can contact any of us at any point. Send us an email. We'd be more than happy to meet with you, and we can make appointments. We all have office hours where we meet with students. But it might be easier to initially just reach out with an email. And we are really excited to have you here and looking forward to having you in our classes. So thank you very much for joining us for orientation. Faculty, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we sign off?
Hey,
No,
Laura,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Virginia.
There's one more question of how someone can find who their advisor is.
That is a great question. So we break it down by alphabetical order, but I don't remember where that is listed. Does anyone else remember
I
where?
can follow up. I can follow
Okay.
up. I am going to be talking to Melissa about that. So
Okay,
hopefully we'll have a more comprehensive list for faculty as well as for students.
perfect.
Reach
So,
out to any of us in the meantime, though.
yes, yeah.
Yep.
So any
Um,
of us are, even if you are not listed as our advisee, we would be happy to meet with you, okay? So just reach out to us and we'll get it figured out. That's a great question, though. Sorry, we didn't have an answer for you.
Just a small, especially for those that are still on the call, small note to make. Just as a heads up, we have the BFA application process during the spring semester, and so ultimately one time during the year. So it's really important that you take the lower division Common Core courses and wrap those up during the spring semester, or in general, just, having taken them. So it's really important that you guys stay on track. I'm actually going to be sticking around with some of my students here to kind of discuss that, and really emphasize that. But for those that are on the call, just to note that you do not want to not take a course, missing a course, better yet, and throw off an entire year.
Thank you, Jasmine. Anything else? All right, well, we are going to wrap it up then. Thank you for sticking around, and let us know if you have any questions. Please do reach out to us via email. Be happy to meet with you. All right, have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.